Good morning. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning. Calling the roll for the Monday, July 25th Board of Control meeting. It is 11:01. Joe Nani serving as an alternate for Dan Baker.
Here.
Dale Miller.
Here.
Trevor Mackler serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones.
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, if we can take a second to review the minutes from last week. Are there any corrections? Hearing no corrections, I make a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Moving on to contracts and awards.
First item, BC 2022-446, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to an agreement among Board of Park Commissioners of the Cleveland Metropolitan Park District and Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District for sewer maintenance services and disposal of wastewater sewer grit for the period April 18th, 2022 through April 17th, 2023, for additional revenue in the amount not to exceed $100,000.
Nicole English with Public Works. We have a current agreement through our sanitary division with the Metro Parks, and they're just wanting to increase the amount. They have been using it and see it as a successful partnership, so they're adding money to the contract.
Any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-447, Department of Public Works, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Northern Flooring Specialists Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $14,678.87 for a state contract purchase for the replacement of Shaw carpet tiles at the county airport, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. As stated, this is a state term contract purchase for carpet tiles. This will be trades installed for some interior improvements at the county airport.
Are there any questions on this item? Any no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-448, Department of Public Works, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Stream and Wetlands Foundation in the amount not to exceed $105,000 for the purchase of 2.1 acres of wetland preservation credits at the Pine Brook Mitigation Bank to comply with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers permit to mitigate the permanent and unavoidable loss of 1.397 acres of jurisdictional wetlands that will occur in connection with the replacement of the Pleasant Valley Road bridges in the City of Independence, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Nicole English with Public Works. So this is a bridge replacement project that we're doing of 3 bridges along Pleasant Valley. As part of the project, we are impacting Category 3 wetlands, which seem to be better than gold as far as the cost that it's to replace them. But we work through the federal requirements of the environmental document. We've been able to find purchase wetlands credits through this bank, and so we're asking for the approval of the agreement with the mitigation bank.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-449, Department of Public Works, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to River City Furniture, LLC, doing business as the RCF Group, in the amount not to exceed $145,404.14 for a state contract purchase of various office furnishings and installation services in connection with the relocation phase of the central booking project, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 6 months, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Matt Reimer again with the Department of Public Works. This is a state term contract purchase of office furnishings to include both open office and private office furnishings for the Sheriff's Narcotics Division. As board members may know, the Sheriff's Narcotics Division, among other law enforcement divisions, were relocated to make way for the central booking stakeholders that will be moving into the 3rd floor of Jail 1. This office furnishing is for the recently completed construction up on the 9th floor of the Police Building Tower 2, where the Sheriff's Department has been relocated in part. I did have a chance to respond to the advance questions. One correction that I wanted to make on my advance response is that one of the questions was, when will central booking be at least partially started? And discussing that with Administrator Gibson this morning, they have seen inmates through the first phase of central booking as of Friday of last week. So that's corrected to my August 1st anticipated response from Friday. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on this item? Mr. McAleer?
Good morning, Matt. Do you know how many inmates went through the central booking process? I mean, are they doing kind of a small group of people first, or what? Do you know how many they?
I don't know the pace, forgive me, but I can work with corrections to follow up on that. What I do know is that it is only including the traditional booking operations right now through the new space as they, quote, soft opening the new spaces while they get their booking processes straight, because it is a new physical flow through the reception, through dress-in, and then to the new booking area. But I can't speak to the numbers that they saw this weekend.
If they're using the traditional booking process, that's okay. I
Yes.
don't need that. And then could you just briefly talk about what Phase 2 construction entails?
Phase 2, let me do it in reverse. Phase 1 includes all of the primary booking functions for the jail. The reception booking, the entrance examination, workspaces for law enforcement and other stakeholders that will be integrated shortly, a new expanded booking area, new private exam rooms for Metro Health, and a variety of other support functions for staff. A new property dress-in, new spot in the flow for the body scanner upon entrance. So all that, as well as a new safety cell for anyone that is experiencing any outbursts or things that need to be handled in a different kind of cell than just a hardened holding cell. We're also, so that's all Phase 1. What we pick up in Phase 2 is an additional open waiting area, a renovated control booth for one of the corrections officers, and new backup controls for the security systems, and a new ADA accessible holding cell, as well as circulation back to the booking floor elevators, traditionally the booking floor elevators up on the 4th floor. So those are the things that we pick up in Phase 2. So it's important, but most of the primary functions are already complete now in Phase 1.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2022-450, Department of Public Works, recommending an award and enter into a contract with Precision Compaction Services, LLC, in the amount not to exceed $49,500 for preventative maintenance and repair services on compactors, balers, and dumpers located at various county buildings, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 3 years.
This is a 3-year, I'm sorry, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works again. This is a 3-year contract proposal for compaction maintenance services. We have compaction equipment and cardboard balers at the Justice Center in 2 locations, at the Juvenile Justice Center, at Virgil Brown, and at Courthouse Square County facilities. This will be a 3-year contract to maintain those systems and perform emergency repairs if any are needed, which is usually the case.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-451, Department of Development, recommending a United States Environmental Protection Agency Brownfield Revolving Fund Loan to RFORG1 LLC in the amount not to exceed $100,000 for the environmental remediation of asbestos-containing building materials associated with the former industrial Westinghouse building, located at 1200 West 58th Street, Cleveland, for the renovation and utilization as a mixed-use redevelopment complex consisting of approximately 240 residential units and commercial space.
Morning, Michael May, Department of Development. So as stated, this is a $100,000 loan that we're putting together with the developer of the Westinghouse building at 1200 West 58th Street. It's a 300,000 square foot complex that they're going to be turning into a mixed-use development of about 240 residential units and some commercial space. The loan is, again, sourced by US EPA brownfield money. It's a $100,000 sort of asbestos removal before they do demolition work on the various components of the building, the tower, the warehouses, and foundry building. The loan is going to be a 10-year loan. It's 1% accruing. It'll be a balloon payment at the end of year 10. And there will be some collateral associated with that, some properties that the development company owns as security for the loan.
Are there any questions on this item? No questions. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-452, Department of Human Resources, recommending an award and enter into an agreement with the Metro Health System doing business as Skyway in the amount not to exceed $52,000 for on-site biometric screening services for county employees participating in the wellness program, commencing upon agreement signature of all parties through December 31st, 2022.
Good morning, Stephen Witt with Human Resources. This is our annual agreement with Metro Health to conduct on-site biometric screenings as part of our wellness program. This year, we have enough funding to provide 1,625 slots for biometric screenings. Last year, we had 1,558 participants. The price did go up $1 per screening. We are planning to hold these at 8 locations throughout the county: the headquarters, senior and adult, the Harvard Garage, Medical Examiner's Office, Jane Nenta Hunter, the Juvenile Justice Center, the Justice Center, and Virgil E. Brown.
Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next
Thank you.
item.
Next item, BC 2022-453, Office of the Medical Examiner, recommending an award on a purchase order to Cybergenetics Corporation in the amount not to exceed $50,300 for a sole source purchase of True Allele Casework Technology Database Expansion Module.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. True Allele allows the DNA lab to do mixture analysis, so if there are more than one profile per sample, they're able to separate and identify each one. This is being used more and more in seized drug cases to try to track identities back to the dealers. So that is why it's being purchased under the opioid settlement fund.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-454, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with North Coast Community Homes Incorporated for residential placement for individuals in custody of Division of Children and Family Services, including minor parents and their children who have tested positive for COVID-19 for the period September 9th, 2021 through March 8th, 2022, to extend the time period to March 8th, 2023, to modify the contract terms by increasing the monthly rate for services effective March 9th, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $24,000.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family Services. Again, this is a contract amendment with North Coast Community Homes. Purpose of this contract is to be able to place individuals who are in the custody of DCFS who also test positive for COVID-19 into residential placement while they recover. Originally, this contract was a homeless services contract, and we repurposed it for DCFS families.
Are there any questions on this item?
Yes. What is the current rate and what is it going to be?
The current rate was $1,500 a month. It's now $2,000 a month.
And why is it being raised by a third?
I'm not 100% sure as to why it was raised, but I'm going to guess possibly the cost of doing business.
So, could you get me
Yeah,
some
I'll get
additional
more details
information?
on it.
Thank you.
Any additional questions, Mr. McAleer?
Marcos, do you know how many kids we have there at any given one time? And are we using it every day? Is it sporadically used?
So unfortunately, have not utilized their services. This is basically kind of like a hold a bed as if we need
Okay.
it. We haven't had the need yet. As we know, COVID-19, has highs and lows. I think we anticipate probably having to utilize that in the future because we're, I think, in a high point, a high season for COVID transmission, but we haven't utilized it yet. But it's the nature of the contract that we have a placement, we hold it in case we do need it.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but how would that work? So if someone's in DCFS custody, if they're in a foster home or if they're in another placement, and do we take them obviously out of that home or out of another residential treatment and we send them to North Coast Community Homes while they recover from COVID?
That is my understanding of how it would work, yes.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't seem, it just seems like something, if we're not using the service right now, do you know when was the last time we had a child there?
We haven't had a child there. So before 3/8 was homeless services for COVID. Mhm.
I'm just trying to think in reality, are we really, if a kid's in a foster home, are they really going to be moved to a different residential treatment facility because they have COVID? But, okay. Thanks for the answers.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-455, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Wood Services Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $130,141.47 for out-of-home emergency placement services for the period July 14th, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family Services. This is an exemption for a purchase order to pay for the Wood Services for services that were performed in 2021. Originally, we had requested a time-sensitive mission critical for a child to be placed with the Woods. As per our usual process, we were going to add them to the master agreement. However, delays in receiving documentation and the vendor initially balking at signing the contract caused this to stretch out into 2022. In early February, the interim director of purchasing asked us to process this as a PO exemption so we could pay the invoices for 2021. It took some time to finally convince the vendor to sign off and submit the documentation so we could process this purchase order, but we're also adding them to the 2022 amendment. The original concern was that they wanted rate increases over the life of the contract. We do not allow rate increases because if we do it for one, we'd have to do it for everyone, and that would be just unsustainable budgetarily.
Questions on this item?
Marcos, this was just for one child, right?
Just for one
Okay.
child, yep, and the child's still there.
Are they, for 2022, are they now added to the?
And the consent item, they are being
Oh,
added.
okay, all right, thank you.
Questions on this item? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-456, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Family and Children First Council, recommending an award on requisition 7886 and enter into a contract with College Now Greater Cleveland Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $250,000 for the coordination of 6 out-of-state exposure field trips/college tours for the Closing the Achievement Gap program, commencing upon contract signature of all parties through December 31st, 2023.
Good morning again, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family and Children First Council, my apologies. The contract is from an RFP that was issued late last year. College Now Greater Cleveland was selected as a vendor and will manage, monitor, and coordinate all the out-of-state exposure field trips for Closing the Achievement Gap program. The vendor will manage staff and volunteer chaperones, communicate with FCFC and the participating school districts.
Yes, I know that we've been doing these field trips for a number of years, and my question is whether this is a new approach to doing the field trips, or have we done it this way with an outside vendor in the past?
Unfortunately, I thought we would have some representation here from Family and Children First Council. I do not believe that this is any different than what's been done in the past.
Marcos, go ahead. If I could just add in, I
Great.
know that this was RFP'd out as, the entire CTAG package, Councilman Miller, and nobody who submitted responses to the initial RFP included this as a service. So FCFC put an RFP out exclusively for this service. My understanding is there's no difference in the way the service is being provided. The only reason it's being presented separately is because the respondents to the initial RFP didn't include these exposure field trips. In the past, it might have been just paid like by district. I'm not positive, and maybe you could get that info, Marcos. But it's not a change in approach so much as it was, just doing a rebid because this service wasn't proposed.
So what you're saying is that College Now provided these in the past, but in the past, the school districts would pay for them individually as opposed to having a single contract that handles all of it. Is that what you're saying?
I can't confirm that College Now directly provided this. It might have been provided by the districts. That's what I would say FCFC would have to clarify. I just know the mechanics of why it's being presented separately.
Okay, well, I would like to get that clarification, whether they've been provided by the districts in the past.
I will make sure.
Madam Chair, I can add a little bit to that. Before Closing the Achievement Gap would operate the tours, and FCFC bid this out this time. So it was done through the school districts, but it was through Closing the Achievement Gap. Here, they wanted to bid the vendor out, to bid the service out because they were aware that others can do that. So it is different, and before it was Closing the Achievement Gap.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Donnie?
Just to confirm, this was the only vendor that responded, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions?
Marcos, do you know the other 6 that the bid was sent to, just out of curiosity,
I
or
don't
6
have
that pulled it?
No, I
Okay.
don't. I can find that out, though.
Thank you.
I'd like to know that as well.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to exemptions.
Next item, BC 2022-427, Department of Public Works requesting an alternative procurement process, which will result in an award recommendation from an informal request for proposals for an independent peer review analysis for the Cuyahoga County Correction Center, and recommending an award to DLZ Architecture Incorporated in connection with said alternative procurement.
Nicole English with Public Works. So the alternative procurement here was that we sent out via email through the Director of Public Works a request for proposals to 7 firms that could do this work of this independent study that were not associated with any of the work that was currently or had been in the past done by any consultants on the Cuyahoga County Justice Center. We received 3 responses. We had a committee that included members of the court, members of actually Cleveland Court, Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court, the Public Defender, and administration of the county that was scoring the 3 proposals. They ranked DLZ the highest, which is who we're looking to contract with, and rationale for that was similar work that they did in Michigan, specifically a third-party review to determine if it's a go on a new jail or not. And then also they were, their price range was in the middle of the other 2 vendors that had submitted. So we are asking for this to be approved. They are going to take 7 to 8 weeks to complete the work, and then we will present it to the Justice Center Steering Committee and County Council.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Councilman Miller?
Just a comment that there is ample information, both from the 2014 study and recent reports regarding our inability to meet upgraded state standards, that the renovation of the existing jail is not workable. The idea that the current jail site can be effectively renovated for a small fraction of the cost of building new is clearly false. The proposed review will not change anything except to create unrealistic expectations. Therefore, I have to vote against it as an unwise use of public money.
Not a question, but as was stated at the beginning of the meeting, I'm a representative of Nan Baker, and I will be casting a no vote on this one for her as well.
Clear?
Nicole, I just have a question on the item. If approved today, when can they start the work? Are they going to be able to start right away?
We actually have a meeting Wednesday morning at 9 with them to come in and start rolling everything out, yes.
So we're anticipating at least a report, if approved, by like middle of September or
Correct.
second or third week of September. And then who were the other two responses, just out of curiosity?
The other
were they
two-
local or?
No, the other two were out of town, Justice Planners, and they were out of South Carolina, and PFM, which was out of Cincinnati.
And DLZ was middle in price? There was
Correct.
one lower than them?
Correct. Significantly lower, to the point that we were not sure that they actually understood the scope, and then the other one was double in price.
Which vendor was the lowest?
The lowest price was Justice Planners.
Okay.
Any additional questions?
Madam Chair, I just have a comment too. Just as everyone knows here, right, I represent Council President Pernell Jones at Border Control. I think everyone is aware of the discussions around this particular contract over the last month or so, if not longer. As Council President Jones stated at the last council meeting, he spoke with Prosecutor O'Malley and Presiding Judge Sheehan about this contract. And I think during those multiple calls, they all shared their respective positions on this funding request. The courts and prosecutor's office are independent, and we respect that independence. And I will say, because of those conversations, I think between the elected officials and the independence of those agencies, and most importantly, because the courts and the prosecutor agreed to pay for the contract out of their own budgets, I will be supporting this request today.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Hearing no additional comments, I make a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll second.
We need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Paul. Seconded by Paul. Mr. Porter. All those in favor say aye.
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 2 opposed,
Nay.
4 approvals. So, item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-457, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Reentry, recommending an alternative procurement process to issue a request for proposals during the period July 25th, 2022 through August 8th, 2022 to Case Western Reserve University School of Law and Cleveland State University, Cleveland Marshall College of Law for the administration and operation of a second chance reentry law clinic.
Good morning. Fred Bolliton at the Office of Reentry. This is a request for an alternative procurement. The Second Chance Legal Clinic provides legal assistance to people with criminal justice involvement on civil matters. It's not criminal defense. It's on civil matters, on issues that have arisen as a collateral consequence of their criminal justice involvement. It was started from funds from a federal grant. It's a pilot program. That has ended. The Office of Reentry wants to continue that. The way it's structured is that so the services are provided by upper-level law students. So the only possible vendors for this project would be one of the two law schools, either Cleveland Marshall or Case. Our intention is to seek proposals from each of them, but not with a formal RFP process, just because this would be much more expedient, give each of the schools an opportunity to make a proposal and a bid, and accept that as a form of competitive bidding.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
We're moving on to the consent agenda, items BC 2022-458 through 461.
Take a moment to review the consent agenda items. Are there any questions on the items listed? Hearing no questions, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda items. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nani. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Moving on to additional items, is there any public comment?
Well, we do have other business. We have one-time sensitive mission critical, item BC 2022-462, Department of Public Works, recommending an award to Brand Safeway Services LLC in the amount not to exceed $19,082.40 for emergency structural shoring installation of multiple areas at the Justice Center.
Good morning, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works Facilities Division. This is a request to install to install structural temporary shoring at the Justice Center beneath the Jail 1 structure on the P2 level, which is in the Sheriff's parking garage area. This need is based on assessments that were ongoing from our structural engineering consultant due to various distresses that we had observed in various areas of the Justice Center parking structures. And this is the recommendation by the structural engineer to move forward with this shoring. It is our intent inside the Department of Public Works, at my recommendation, to move forward on with a future procurement to actually purchase this shoring. What this time-sensitive mission critical will do today is 75% of this cost is for the labor of installation, and then up to 2 months of rental while we work a purchase procurement for this. We will also be doing additional work with our structural engineer to get safe load ratings for the areas above these areas, and then look for long-term recommendations on how we need to proceed with these areas. These areas support the jail Sally port above where this will be installed, as well as the West 3rd loading dock. Those are the functions that are on the P2 level above these areas of repair.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Mr. Nani?
Just sounds like some information that DLZ might be helpful to have.
Go there? I thought we already moved on from that item.
No, I just
We're in the same department, so we'll coordinate.
We'll talk.
I do have
A real question.
Matt, have you worked with this vendor before? Are they familiar with the facility?
I have not in my time with the county, nor has Dan Paul, our maintenance administrator, but we did walk through the vendor with the area. They were specifically recommended by the structural engineer because they could easily take the load requirements that the engineer created and turn them into a configuration that the shoring could be installed to support. So that's why we selected this vendor for the mission critical.
Maybe I'm wrong here, but the price seems fairly low for, it sounds like, the work that's being completed. Do you think there's going to be an issue once they're in there? You'll be back here, or is that with your understanding, is that a pretty reasonable price for the work?
So that's a pretty reasonable price for the work. I did mention that we intend to move forward with a purchase of that, and that'll be more than this. Okay. I believe our current price on that is about $35,000, and we're working to fine-tune that and finalize it before moving forward. But that is a reasonable price for the installation and initial setup of this shoring.
It's just the shoring, though. It's not structural repairs to the building.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We did submit an appropriation to OBM out of our capital improvement plan emergency line item. I believe our appropriation request is $130,000, and that'll be pending a future fiscal agenda with council.
Okay.
And we'll include these costs plus the other costs that we have.
Do you think that'll be on our August 2nd fiscal agenda?
It's my understanding that that's the intent, yes.
Okay, I was just worried about timing if,
Right.
if we don't meet till September again.
Mhm.
And then to Joe's point, though, is that something, will DLZ review this, though? I mean, this sounds
Yes.
important. Like, is that something that will be under their?
Yeah, so we'll work with them on getting them all the information of everything Matt has done to date out of his team in the building, and also what he has on future capital plans.
Yes.
So that is information we'll share with them for sure.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any public comment?
No public comment?
No public comment. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. English. We're adjourned. Thanks.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry, any opposed to?
Not at all.
Aye.
You
We're
know
not
us very well.
Okay.